rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
Too late. That's the message Caroline Leavitt just delivered, loud and clear to The View. After weeks of mocking her and laughing off her $800 million defamation lawsuit, the hosts are now practically begging on air for a truce. But Caroline? She's not having it. She's not flinching. She's doubling down. And just when ABC thought the fire was dying down, Caroline threw gasoline on the flames. Suddenly, Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny are acting sweet in front of millions. But don't be fooled. It's not remorse. It's damage control. Because behind the scenes, panic is spreading like wildfire. These same women laughed at her, dismissed her as a conservative publicity stunt. And now? They're pleading for peace. But Caroline's answer is as sharp as it is simple. Too late. Before we unpack the explosive chaos unraveling inside ABC headquarters, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories the mainstream won't touch. Subscribed? Good. Let's get into the meltdown.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
The moment. Everything changed. This wasn't just another catty segment. This was the beginning of a legal firestorm. When Caroline Leavitt first announced her $800 million defamation suit, the host didn't blink. Joy cracked jokes. Whoopi rolled her eyes. Sunny, the show's legal expert, smirked and brushed it off. They mocked Caroline like she was chasing clout, but she wasn't chasing headlines. She was building a case. Her team quietly began compiling everything: past footage, behind-the-scenes memos, and internal communication. This wasn't a rant. It was a full-on operation. ABC didn't know it yet, but the trap was already set.
I have to stop you with the camera, because I can see you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
The receipts. Then came the leaks. Internal Slack messages from producers. Notes scribbled in planning books. One line read, "Let her dig her own grave. Ask about Trump, she'll spiral." Another, "Cut to audience reactions if she stutters." This wasn't spontaneous. It was strategic, a takedown crafted in advance. Now those smug clips are being played back, not for laughs, but in courtrooms and law offices. Caroline didn't rage online. She didn't tweet cryptic threats. She let the facts speak, and the truth is ugly.
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Watch this.
ABC in crisis mode. The mood inside ABC flipped overnight. What started as cocky confidence turned into full-blown panic. By midweek, meetings shifted from "we've had worse" to emergency calls with top-tier lawyers. Executives canceled vacations. Internal investigations launched. ABC's PR team started monitoring public sentiment hourly. But here's what really sent them spiraling. Caroline's team hadn't even started discovery yet. That's when both sides must hand over evidence. Emails, footage, planning docs, everything. And ABC knew what was hiding in their closets.
These women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right, ABC should wake up.
Ignored warnings, leaked internal memos revealed the network knew there was a pattern. HR flagged that interviews with young conservative guests were overly aggressive, borderline targeted. Another exec wrote, "There's a trend of strategic tension creation. Not sure if it's editorial or personal. They were warned, and they ignored it." Now, junior producers were calling lawyers, interns were being questioned, staff deleted old messages and scrubbed group chats. And Caroline? Silent, focused, in control.
For me, and sort of lived lives of dreams deferred and poured everything in me, and just my life, how I transitioned from college. I went to college when I was 16, high school when I was 12, the struggle of that, and my career as a federal prosecutor, and then how I found my way.
Network meltdown executives kept dodging questions as leaks piled up. PR wanted to settle quietly, but the legal team knew a payout could signal guilt. And the nightmare scenario? Caroline rejecting the offer. By the time the hosts were briefed on the severity, it was already a PR disaster. Whoopi stormed into a meeting straight from set, fuming. "You think we're going to pay her? We're making her a hero." Joy snapped back. "We built this show. We carried this network through elections, scandals, shutdowns, and this is how we go down?" Sunny didn't speak. She just slid the lawsuit across the table and said, "She has enough to take this public."
She was conflating two ideas. This word wokeness didn't look like she really understood what it meant, or certainly the way Caroline Leavitt meant it when she made that statement, and she was conflating it with civil rights and how, women didn't have the right to vote or own property and all of that. That has nothing to do with wokeness, which is, of course, about putting people in there because of their immutable characteristics rather than the merit that they bring to the table.
Awkward on-air please. The next episode aired with an eerie calm. Gone were the jokes. Gone was the sass. Whoopi stared into the camera, face serious. Things have gotten out of hand. Maybe it's time to step back. Joy looked visibly shaken. "I don't know why this had to go this far. Can't we just talk?" Sunny leaned into the lens. "Caroline, if you're watching, maybe there's a better way." 3 hosts, 3 soft pleas. But viewers weren't buying it.
Attacking a woman for her looks or age isn't very progressive. Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Kosha, particularly that last clip that we played, it was so condescending. The way that she was scolding her as if she was a schoolgirl, suggesting she needed to do her homework. I find it so hypocritical when these so-called, caring, progressive voices just turn so nasty like that.
Yes, and as you mentioned, with conservative women, there's a long list of that, both of Trump's previous press secretaries, females, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany, other figures like his campaign manager the first time, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Palin very famously had to bear the brunt of a lot of this. So people are used to that. I think in their bubble of the audience that The View speaks to, that's probably kind of what the group think is. So one defense, I guess, is that she was speaking to her audience, but you take it outside of that bubble the way you are right now, and we all can see.
Silence that screamed. Caroline didn't respond. No tweet, no press conference. Just one chilling line from her legal team. "We are moving forward as planned." The internet exploded. Side-by-side videos showed the hosts mocking her one week, then begging the next. A viral tweet nailed it. "That's not humility. That's fear." TikTokers, YouTubers, meme pages, everyone joined the storm. One meme showed Whoopi on a sinking ship. Captain goes down with the View. Another had Joy clutching a legal binder. When the roast becomes a deposition.
Do you want to take this?
So you cannot be attractive and smart? I will try to give Joy the benefit, and thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Caroline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Caroline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College. She worked for WMUR
Ran for
TV.
Congress?
In New Hampshire. She ran for Congress at the age of 25, put on a very good campaign. She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job.
No distractions, just receipts. Everyone expected Caroline to break her silence. A statement, a press tour, an interview. But she stayed quiet, focused. Her team kept gathering evidence. Every memo, every segment, every whisper. This wasn't a PR stunt. This was war. And she wasn't playing games.
They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right. ABC should wake up. They just paid $15 million to President Trump's future library. That's a great thing for the American people.
The real reason Caroline wasn't doing this out of spite. She was tired of the double standards, tired of being mocked on air and ignored off air, tired of fake apologies. This time, she had the power, and she was using it. People called her brave. Some called her calculating, but everyone agreed she was right.
You know, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on. Right. That's what you hear. Yeah. When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say, they talk at you, not to you. And that's what she was doing. And she was doing it, and it's not new. No. But everybody's hip to you all now. Yeah. And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
The brand is breaking inside. ABC, chaos turned to collapse. Emergency sessions twice a day. Advertisers pulling out. Staff updating resumes. Internal email chains titled Reputational Risk Escalation. Some execs wanted to rebrand the show. Others suggested ending it entirely, because this wasn't just a lawsuit, it was a brand crisis.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job. Yeah. Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because Black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was...
The View's mask slips. The View had long sold itself as a beacon of daytime truth. But now, the public saw the cracks, the scripted chaos, the performative banter, the bullying masked as commentary.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help, because voters are going to re-elect President Trump back to the White House very soon, because voters see these trials that are being brought forward against President Trump for what they are. They are sham show trials. They are election interference in an attempt to imprison President Trump. And the irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his dominance in the polls, not just with Republicans and independents, but he's also picking up historic gains with Democrat constituencies such as African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and union workers.
Just the beginning. Caroline stood firm. No apologies, no airtime, just resolve. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about setting the record straight, and millions were watching. What happens next could change daytime TV forever. This could rewrite the rules for talk shows, media accountability, and the price of fake outrage. Because Caroline didn't flinch. She fought back. And now, she's rewriting history. Smash that like button if you believe in truth over spin. Subscribe for the next twist, because Caroline Leavitt is just getting started.